that it's just like... Right, so we have just pulled out an entire cow scapula from the hole over there. We think it's a midden heap because we've found a whole lot of other cow bones, such as teeth. We've got some long bones. We also have a really interesting little tarsal, which doesn't look like it's from a cow, but we will analyse that one later. Hopefully we'll get some more stuff out and it'll be really good.
Gold drops.
We're just going to go through the basic flotation process. So this is the tank that we have. As you saw in the demonstration yesterday, what we're doing is the sediments that we have from the archaeological sites, there's a lot of sand, silt and clay that we need to filter out of that. So it's material that is not of environmental interest, but in order to analyse the material, we can use the flotation system to filter out the stuff we're not interested in. So we're left with the flot, which is captured in here in the 1/4 mm geological sieve, and that's all the plant remains, all the charred material, ash that might be present on site. And within this 1 mm nylon mesh, the material that we capture could be gravelly, sandy type material. That can also contain pottery, artefacts, it can contain metal residues. If there's glass working on site, hopefully we'll find small glass working residue. This is material that you wouldn't necessarily see when you're excavating because it's so small. Also, the clay and the silt is problematical because that will coat everything. So even though there could be a lot of material as you're excavating, you don't necessarily see it. The flotation system, because it's washing away that material, it helps us to recover and to identify that material of archaeological interest. So we're splitting this soil samples into 4 pieces. There's the 2 elements that stay inside of the tank, and there's 2 elements that leave the tank. The material inside of the tank is material that's heavier than water and smaller than 1 mm, and that goes through the mesh and settles at the bottom of the tank. And that's the sand. We're not particularly, we're not interested in that material. If it's denser than water and bigger than 1 mm, obviously it stays in the mesh, and that's the gravel that we'll dry and look at. That's known as the retent, or the heavy residue. The material so that's 2 elements, the sand and the retent, that stays in the tank. The 2 elements that leave is the flot, which is captured in the 1/4 mm geological sieve. And if it's smaller than a 1/4 mm, the clay and the silt and the very, very fine material that will go through into the settling tank, and over time that will settle to the bottom. So the clay and silt is left here. We're not interested in that. The sand settles to the bottom. We're not interested in that. But we're left with the flot and the heavy residue, which we are interested in. So once you do this for a few minutes, you'll start to notice the sand will begin to filter away, and the clay will begin to be washed out, and it will start to become much smaller. So you might start off with 10 litres of sample, and after a while you'll be left with 2 or 3 litres of heavy residue and a small bit of flot.
Hi, I'm Laura. I'm from the University of Central Lancashire. We are currently rained off site at the moment. It's too wet and boggy, so people are just going to clean the finds, and we're going through some paperwork. Mike here was just showing me and explaining his section of the road, the east section of the road, and the plan that they've done, the key section, and the context sheet that we've also then fill in afterwards with the details.